And what's exceptionally important, and that you all know this, so you think about this, a very small group of people can radically change the course of history and can radically change the course of peace.
This college professor will blow your mind when he's asked about a two-state solution for Israel-Palestine. Stick around, do not leave this video, get your popcorn, get your questions ready. Let's take a listen.
Do you believe in a two-state solution similar to that of the original, 1940 borders, or at least something like the Oslo Accords? Or do you think a one-state solution would bring more peace long-term?
You see, this is the Mediterranean. Here's Egypt. This is what I mean. You're gonna go through here. So if you say like, oh, there's been conflict in this region forever, people say this. I'm gonna respond to your question. But there's been conflict in this region forever. They've been fighting forever. This is Europe in the year 1000. Europeans have been fighting forever. That looks nothing like Europe today. The map of Europe has been changing constantly. The map of this area of Israel has been changing constantly. So when we say like, oh, there's conflict, people have been fighting forever, that's just justification to not really understand the nature of sociology. This is Gaza right here, okay? And this is what's called the West Bank. And Jerusalem is right there. And Jerusalem was identified as the international community. So it was not going to be aligned with Palestinians. It was not going to be aligned with Israel. That has changed over time. And I'm not going to get into some of the details of the more recent politics, but this is the West Bank here. This region is completely closed off. Israel controlled this region here, and Israel controlled this region, which was primarily set aside for Palestinians. But Israel left the Gaza in the early 2000s and gave it over to the Palestinians. Hamas took over, and this is completely cut off. So the two-state solution would be this right here. So we have the West Bank, and we have Gaza, and then we have Israel proper, in which 25% of the people living in here are Arabs, okay? Arab Christians and Arab Muslims, but citizens of Israel. And one can make an argument for second-class status for many of them, and there are. I travel with my Arab friends in Israel, and I saw second class, but certain aspects were like, this isn't really fair, right? But nonetheless.
I just want to add a quick anecdote. I'm going to pop into this. 2 weeks ago, I went down to southern Israel at the site of the Nova Festival. I was with a survivor who took me and my parents around to show us what his story was that morning and the experience, and then he took us to the Bedouin man, the Bedouin Muslim inside of Israel, who saved him and his friends' lives the morning of October 7th after running away from the Nova Site Festival due to Hamas's attack. This man also let me and my family into his house. We had coffee. We had food. His cousins came. He told us the entire story. He doesn't speak English, so he spoke to Hebrew. He spoke to me, and Shalev is his name, in Hebrew, and I translated it to my parents in English. And his cousin came, and then his cousin invited us over for food. And they live in AGHAST, which is the largest Bedouin city inside of Israel. All of them are Arabs. He's religious, by the way, and enjoys his life, loves his life, supports Israel. They were the most Zionist Bedouins I had ever seen in my life. Rahat HaChadasha, the new Rahat. And this is not what the news will talk to you about. They won't talk to you about the 20% Arab population inside of Israel that are religious and allowed to be religious and allowed to practice their religion freely inside the state of Israel. They will not talk about this. CNN will not talk about it. BBC won't talk about it. I will, because I live here. I am a better source. These channels that are talking to you about the boots on the ground reality are a better source. If you don't believe me, come see it for yourself. Let's get back to the video. Oops, sorry about that.
So the idea is, well, could this work out? So Palestinians stay here, and the Israelis control this, Israel controls this, and then we work it out. You have these two states, and that's good. Or do we need to break down all these borders and bring Jews and Arabs together as one single nation living in peace? My response is, either one can lead to peace. It doesn't matter. What matters is the people who are making the decisions believe that that is the best option to move forward. Right? And what's exceptionally important, and that you all know this, so you think about this, a very small group of people can radically change the course of history and can radically change the course of peace. You know, when you go through airport security and you take your shoes off, that was because of one single human being who put a bomb in his shoes and then changed travel for billions of travelers because of that. One single human being. It doesn't take a lot to throw things off. And so my thing is, it's interesting how many people I hear talk about Palestinians in Gaza, what Palestinians in Gaza think, who never talked to or met a Palestinian in Gaza, or what Jews in Israel think, what Jews in the settlements in the West Bank think. And so what has happened here is over time, in the West Bank, Jews have gone in and taken over certain areas of the West Bank. And sometimes in exchange, that it's like, okay, they're really living with and working alongside the Palestinians who are living there. And in other instances, taking over the land. And those of you who are Jewish, if you think that the process of Jewish families and Jewish communities who are living on land in the West Bank and have built these communities, mostly walled communities, who did that with the openness and embrace of Palestinians and did it in a fair and democratic process. My guess is you've never been to the West Bank and you've never talked to people about how some of that unraveled. And I have friends and colleagues who live in some of those communities and are amazing human beings who are working alongside with and have immensely positive relationships with their Arab neighbors.
I don't know what's happening with the video quality here, but we're almost done.
Are embraced by their Arab neighbors and in turn embrace back. So if you say, oh, I support the Palestinians and these settlers all have to go, my guess would be you've probably never been there. I mean, you've probably never had conversations with people. You've probably not understood or seen the complexity of the relationships between people.
Not at all. Most people have not. And my favorite part about this speech was the most important part about when talking about having a two-state solution. The most important part is the people who are behind those decisions are the ones that are genuinely interested in actually having a solution with the other state they're supposed to create two states with. The rhetoric coming out, and by the way, there are people inside of the Israeli government that I really, really don't appreciate, don't like, don't support, and don't think add any value to this. In fact, I think internally divide Israelis, and then from an international community standpoint, get us absolutely torched. Talking about radicals. So I don't talk about politics on this channel. However, they do not represent the majority. The issue is that when Hamas promises to do more October 7th, and Hamas promises that their intention is to kill Jews and Israelis, and Hamas promises nothing else besides from the river to the sea, and Hamas promises that they want to globalize the Intifada, and a lot of the people inside, the majority of the Gaza Strip, support Hamas and voted for them, it's harder to have this nuanced conversation about the people when they share the sentiment that they support. Me and all the other seculars here in Tel Aviv and most of the people inside this country don't want to just go nuke Gaza, don't want this war to continue, don't believe in Jews killing Muslims and then going to reward them in Dizengoff Square, throwing them a party, throwing candies at them, going to get baklava and knafe and all these nice, delicious desserts and Mediterranean foods to go celebrate with their mom because their son became a martyr. That's not what we do. We mourn death. The Gazans inside of the Gaza Strip, you saw them celebrate death. You saw them, I can't even talk about it because it's just the footage and the videos of them just absolutely going on dirt roads, you know, in Humvees and just doing what they did on October 7th and coming back as if they were entering, you know, the gates of heaven for them to be able to just do the most celebratory thing that they could have accomplished. They achieved the most rewarding thing possible that morning. And that is the flesh, the blood, the skeleton, the bone of a Jew, an Israeli Jew. That is the most cherished reward, valued system that they can create for themselves. And they achieved it for 250 of them. Sorry, they achieved 250 hostages. Not all of them were Jews and Israelis, but the majority from that collective were. And so those are the people that are really important because those are the people that are going to be living in the state that is supposed to have a solution with the other state. So I think it's really important to be able to have the boots on the ground reality before we contribute to this conversation. Thank you so much for all of your support. Links in the description to be able to support my work. We are looking to come to a new country very soon. Any help is incredibly appreciated. I love all of you. Here's a note from me. Here are 4 ways you can help us grow if you believe in our mission. On Buy Me a Coffee and PayPal, you can directly contribute to helping this message grow and reach more people across the world. If you want to join the inner circle, join our Patreon with different tiers, and of course, our Discord community, which is free with people from all across the world. The links to every single one are in the description. And last but not least, to the other Barak community, I love you. Ani ohev otchem. I'll see you guys next time.